So, just hanging out, thinking about things, doing things. So currently, I'm traveling. I'm traveling in the ethers. It is very true. Currently, I'm training under a Maori mentor and doing a couple of what's called 12 hawks. So they talk about the 12 celestial heavens, and that really correlates to me as to like one of the ways that astrology has been being like spoken about the 12 houses and whatnot. So in the Maori teachings, there's a lot of talk of these 12 heavens of teaching, these 12 realms, these 12 spaces of knowledge. So I've been thinking about the conversations that are going on right now about sidereal astrology and traditional astrology, changing our astrology science, things like this. So my comprehension of it, though, is that I've heard of progressions in charts, things like this before, that, our planets move, it's a fucking thing, they move. But where the planets were when you were born is the bricks of foundation of how you first came to comprehend. Now, if we think about these 12 astrology signs as possibly a realm of teaching, one of these 12 high heavens, then the foundation of your beginnings would always be shaped from the common sense of that original foundation of that brickwork of teaching. And then as the progression goes, so in sidereal astrology at this stage, I am a Taurus with a Capricorn moon kind of thing, but my Cancer doesn't move anywhere. So I still have Cancer in my Venus, and I still have Cancer in my rising. That didn't shift. But the progression of the other planets around me have shifted, which in my comprehension of what it means is that I still have Gemini approach, because those are the brickworks of the teachings that I was originally taught in this incarnation on how to approach subjects, problems, the world kind of thing. And then slowly over the years, it moves a couple degrees, and now I'm in this teachings around luxury, around where my communication sits, actually, because Taurus is where my communication sat when I was born in. But now, and I was born into a sign about communication, and then at this stage of my life, at 37, I've moved into being a Taurus. So I guess I'm just learning more about communication, which makes a ton of sense for my life at this stage, because I'm figuring out what is my importance of communication, how do I communicate what is within my brickwork. So just thinking about that and the 12 heavens astrology, and how our signs change. That actually makes a ton of fucking sense to me. That we would over time, and it would aid us in compassion and comprehension of each other as we each would slowly progress into different houses, different teachings, different celestial realms of ancestral knowledge as we age, right? Which would make sense, where we would be able to comprehend things in a completely different way throughout our life. And the structure that is the original pattern that the planets were in when we were born, they rotate in a circular pattern, but kind of on a trajectory out a little bit. So it would end up creating, your life would end up looking like a spiral graph as you move. But then if you think about it as like these schools, and your spiral graph starts in this one school, and then it's spinning out and doing its thing, and then it progresses into another school, it makes the sense to me. It makes the sense. So we're just like these like spiral graphs moving through a map of a variety of complex levels of schools of knowledge, right? It's very interesting. Very interesting. So one thing that has gone on throughout my years of learning is that at one stage, so in the 13th House Mystery School, my comprehension of it, which in speaking to one of the founders, isn't what she said, but what I heard, and the way that I went through the process, the way that my clay needed to, was that it's a year and a day through Yggdrasil. You journey on a drum, and you go into Yggdrasil. You go into the Celtic and Nordic tree of life. And as you're going through Yggdrasil, each realm has a variety of guides, which take you down a variety of pathways and take you to different gifts. So, say one realm you enter, there's nine muses. And if you go from Memoria holds the memory. So she in herself attains all the muses. But you don't have to go for Memoria. You might choose to go for Erotica. You might choose to go to Musica. You might choose to go to, any of the other eight muses that are that pertain their own personal gifts. Or you could go to Memoria and remember all the gifts are there. But it's a different process than attaining the gift fully yourself from that guide. So each of the realms, you could probably spend your lifetime going in and out of the realms and choosing to go with different guides at different points. So you spend a year and a day going with a group, with a mentor guiding, setting up crystals, setting up the intention, and setting up the placemat of the request that we're going in to meet these guides into this realm. So you do a year and a day to get your white cord. And where you go, only you know, really, and not necessarily the guide, the primary drum keeper knows exactly where you went, because you'll go where your guides and where you choose to go when you go down. So you go into a general area, but each of these realms are humongous and have all of these options about what you can attain in those realms. There's some general tools that you get as you go down, general happenings that happen. So that's what's scripted. For you to read after the fact to see where these connection points cross culture, where your ancestors are speaking to you, and possibly which way you went and what gift you got, kind of thing. But this is also doubled with your own journaling, your own art, your own process of keeping track of what you experience in your journey. And what comes up over the month, what you get up, what synchronicities come, what hardships come, what difficulties, what trials, things like this. Very interesting. Then I understood the red cord as a year and a day, or however long it takes you to figure out what in the clay of your earth is your healing that you're here to bring to the planet. And that's one of the reasons why I like this mystery school, is because it's about your personal autonomy and your personal expression of all of it. There's no right way, which is the beautiful aspect, because there's no prejudice on the way that you know spirit, or you come to know spirit, or who you know within spirit, because there is many options. But we all start off in Yggdrasil, just to kind of give us all this similar foundation. But even at that, there's this possibility of all these different ways that you could choose to go and what you can attain. So then, when you're doing your year and a day for your red cord, in my case, I attracted a past life redemptionist and a channel medium woman named Lanny Rice with Broken Heart Studios. And it came about, I was drawn to this school. I met my mentors through the school, through the art history program, and I started working with 13th House Mystery School. And then at that same school, I was in an abstract, advanced abstract art class, and there was a woman in there who had come in to do just drop-in classes because she was already an established abstract artist, and her and I went for a coffee, and I ended up speaking very animatedly about a subject, and she was like, "Oh, interesting, this is a past life thing. I'd love to do one on you." So she did one on me, and at the time I'd been sculpting all these Egyptian kind of beings, just really subconsciously. So sculpting the Ka, and sculpted a crocodile man, and sculpted like Sobek, and I sculpted, I went to do a coyote woman, but she turned into Bast, and there was all these animorphs that really, when I went snuffling, really felt very Egyptian, and I was really resonating with a lot of these Egyptian teachings. So we went to the other side of the school and used one of these small rooms, because it was a beautiful studio-based art school, just old and amazing. And so we went across to the other side to where I'd been doing some printmaking, and where I'd also had a sphinx come out in the printmaking stuff. And we proceeded to do past life redemption. So I'd had past life regressions done at that stage, but I'd never had, let's check time, we're getting pretty long, and I'd never had one of those before. So let's go to continue. So during my red cord, I attracted this mentor in past life redemptions, and I proceeded to. Oh,